part now. The Yoga Gen 7 lineup is really pushing that boundary in terms of AI, in terms of smart features. And for what we'll be introducing today with the Yoga 9i, we'll be introducing some of these features that will be built in to change how or to improve how our customers work and play using the laptop. Okay. So first, let's start with the moment that you open or that you turn on the device. Once you flip up or flip over yung screen of the Yoga 9i or any Yoga devices for the X70 lineup, your device will instantly start up. And of course, thanks to the full HD infrared cameras that will be installing into the X70 Yoga devices, users can also expect fast smart login via Windows Hello for that seamless boot up experience. So that means that it's less downtime for when you just really want to work, or maybe you want to immediately get into that next K-drama episode that you've been binging after a long day, right? Okay. Of course, the next one is we also included several quality of life improvements for the Yoga Gen 7 devices. We'll include a color ambient light sensor, which automatically adjusts not only the color or the brightness of the keyboard backlight, but also tweaks the color temperature of the screen according to the environment that you're in. So kunyari, if you're working in a room na medyo whitish yung ilaw, it'll be just normal daylight temperature. But if you're working at a bit warmer na landscape or na area, it'll tweak it like a little bit warmer so that if you're doing color sensitive work, hindi mahihirapan yung eyes mo to adjust with whatever you're doing. Okay. And then, of course, it's not just all about work for Yoga devices for this year. We also included smart entertainment features that will really help enhance that entertainment experience for its users. So this, of course, includes features that utilize or take advantage of the IR camera and the time of flight sensor to detect the presence of users in front of the laptop. And then, whenever you need it, of course, we also have improvements in terms of AI capabilities that will help deliver for work and productivity. For example, Smart Voice is going to help you by letting you wake the computer using your voice, of course, or maybe being your smart assistant if you want someone to, or if you want the computer to search for something for you without even typing your query, and even eliminating background noise. So let's say you're in an environment na medyo maingay, you have pets, maybe a dog barking around or whatever, or maybe even yung mga chicken that nasa kapitbahay niya or something. So it will eliminate those background noises so that it won't be a distraction when you're using the notebook for a meeting, right? So apart from that, we also utilize AI to help optimize the performance of every Yoga laptop. That means that the device will adapt to your usage habits and can also help optimize battery life and charging, as well as cooling when you're using it for extra strenuous or medyo high power na work. And then, of course, we also included especially for touch models now for our laptops or for our Yoga X70 lineup, smart gestures that will be part of the mix in terms of productivity improvements. You can either, of course, use the touchpad for gestures, touchscreen, or even in some cases our webcam itself, so that you can use touchless gestures for that for a better productivity experience. So all of these smart features can be found in our incoming X70 Yoga lineup. But for now, of course, we'll be discussing what I consider myself to be one of the best looking devices on our laptop lineup this year. So of course, now I want to introduce you with the Yoga 9i convertible laptop. So this will be the latest convertible laptop in our Gen 7 Yoga lineup for this year. Now, it's not readily apparent in the video. You can't in the photo earlier. You can't really see that. But if you've watched the video earlier, you'll see that it's a different design approach on the Yoga 9i, and it'll be the approach that we'll be taking for the rest of the Yoga X70 or Gen 7 lineup for this year. So this is what we call comfort edge design, which really focuses on the rounded edges. So you'll see on the edges of the hinge, no, na parang instead of the usual may mga kanto, it's more beveled, more curved. Tapos you have that very shiny exterior. So that's really something that we're bringing in so that you have that more premium look And of course, it'll make it more compact looking because you're going to have less bezels on four sides of the screen. And then, of course, we have special focus on entertainment. And we've improved this gen to gen. Gen to gen. I'm sure that if you've experienced our previous yoga devices, especially the Yoga 9i from previous generation, we have a lot of entertainment additions to that. And we've built on that function or those functions for the next generation. And finally, of course, you have features that enhance the versatility of conventional convertibles. And with the generational improvements, of course, we're also introducing new color palettes for our devices. So for this one, it's not really just going to be restricted to the Yoga 9i. For the rest of our Yoga lineup that we'll be introducing later this year, we'll also introduce new, unique color tones that are very pleasing, very comfortable to the eye, as well as, of course, the neutral tones that we already have in the market today. Okay, right. So first, I also want to discuss about one key thing that we have for the Yoga Gen 7 devices, starting with the Yoga 9i. So we'll be introducing for this generation what we call the Lenovo Pure Sight display. So what is Pure Sight display? Basically, it's a checklist term for screen panels from Lenovo that meet certain qualifications, most of which, of course, are going to be present on Yoga Gen 7 devices. So these are at least having 2.5K or higher resolution, 90 hertz of refresh rate or higher, 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is a golden ratio for laptop displays. Of course, narrow bezels all around on all four sides, and HDR and Dolby Vision certifications. And then for some models that will be introducing down the line, you can also expect that they will have adaptive refresh rate. So what is adaptive refresh rate? That's something that maybe we can introduce at a later time. But for now, let's focus on the Yoga 9i design. You'll see here, no, this is a very telling or revealing photo of how different the Yoga 9i Gen 7 is compared to the previous generation Yoga 9i. So you have those rounded edges, a little bit, maybe if you're not really looking, it's a bit better or bigger soundbar hinge, but that's something that I can talk later on about. But overall, it's really more premium, better materials, and of course, we've also improved on the internals that we have on the Yoga 9i. Basically, like what you've already seen, we have the Comfort Edge design for the Yoga 9i, and it's a very glossy, rounded edge that is very comfortable, especially if you're going to use the Yoga 9i as a tablet or a tent na medyo mobile, apart from using it on the top of your desk, right? And then, of course, for the Yoga 9i for this generation, we will be introducing edge-to-edge keyboard. I've already mentioned the OLED display that is PureSight certified, excuse me, as well as the better implementation of the rotating soundbar that I'll get to later. Of course, you also have a touch function for the Yoga 9i, as well as a full function pen that we bundled in with the laptop itself. And then, of course, finally, you have the 75 watt-hour battery life, which is much bigger than what we have in the previous generation, meaning longer life up to 14 hours, even if it's an OLED model. Okay, so talking more about the Lenovo PureSight display that is equipped in the Yoga 9i, of course, you're getting an OLED display that's 10-bit, 100% DCI-P3 coverage. So it's very ideal for content creators or even content consumers, those who really love watching videos and having it very color accurate as much as possible. You also have, like what I mentioned earlier, 1 millisecond of response time for the screen, even if it's an OLED screen, right? So, and of course, 16 by 10 aspect ratio. So it's a little bit taller than your usual laptop. And compared to the previous generation, which is 16 by 9, it's bound to really have that difference in terms of using it, even if medyo pareho lang siya ng size from the previous generation. All right, of course, pairing it up with a breathtaking display, we didn't cut corners with the sound system either. So, play na lang nung video. Yeah, we made sure to build on the innovation of the rotating soundbar and make it sound even better than before. All right. Okay, So with that, we collaborated this time with a renowned speaker and audio brand, Bowers and Wilkins, for the Yoga 9i Gen 7's updated rotating soundbar. So if you're familiar with the Yoga 9i from previous generations, we introduced the rotating soundbar. Basically, whatever mode you're in, we've built in the speakers on the hinge of the convertible itself. So meaning, if nakabukas siya in traditional laptop mode, it's facing you. And then when you're using it as tablet mode, meaning naka 360 degree siya na flip, it's still going to face the user. And if it's in tent mode, likewise, nakaharap din yung speaker dun sa mismong nakatingin sa screen. So it really makes for a good entertainment experience. And with the Gen 7, of course, we built on that. We collaborated, like what I mentioned, with Bowers and Wilkins, so that upon internal reviews and even some focus group discussions, no, we've managed to get the feedback that the Yoga 9i is actually has the one of the best audio system in a yoga yet. So we also added on the right and left sides of the keyboard deck side-facing woofers. So apart from that soundbar that you get in front of the or in below the display, you're also going to get a little bit more oomph in terms of sound quality with those sound-facing woofers, right? So I believe that this is something that maybe you can experience for yourselves once we start rotating media review units. And we hope that you get as good a feedback as we've had with the laptop itself. Okay, and then of course, the ease of access is something that we also kept in mind for the Yoga 9i. No? So we made sure to include one-click function keys so that you have easy access to several functions that will help you with either productivity or entertainment. So you have a dedicated macro, basically parang macro key siya on the left, or rather on the right side of the keyboard that tends to smart power. You have background blur so that you can have a one button push for blurring your background during Zoom calls or something, right? You have audio profile buttons that can help you switch between different profiles based on how you're using the laptop. And then color mode, which is something that we're introducing along with the ambient light sensor that's color sensitive, so that you can also choose to work with specific color spaces. And then, of course, later, sige, next slide na natin. We also built in an integrated fingerprint reader on the deck, on the keyboard deck itself, apart from that Windows Hello capable webcam, right? So now looking at the keyboard deck itself, you'll see that the keyboard, the edge-to-edge keyboard is really very apparent there. It's easily accessible. It's something that improves the look and the feel of the device when you're using it. And we also managed to include a larger trackpad, over at least 45% larger than the previous generation, so that you have a much easier time navigating the laptop, even when you're mobile. Let's say you don't have a mouse on you right now, right? So mas madali mo siya magagamit without those peripherals. Okay, then of course, even if we made the Yoga 9i much slimmer and much more compact than before, we also made sure to still include useful ports on the left and right side of the laptop. So on the left side, you'll see two USB Type-C ports that are Thunderbolt 4 capable. You also have one Type-A 3.2 port with, of course, it's Gen 3.2, so it's faster data transfer speeds already. And then on the right side, you have Type-C, another Type-C port that's capable of power delivery and display port. And of course, that audio jack. Hindi mawawala yun with the Yoga 9i. Excuse me. So now with the design, like what I mentioned earlier, you already have that more compact build, that more compact chassis with the Comfort Edge design and that flip to boot capability with our smart AI features. You also have a 91% active area ratio. That's much higher than the previous generation. No? And overall, even if it has just that profile, we managed to cram it in 16.5 millimeters thickness. That's very, very thin compared to the previous generation. Right. And then now, seeing here is, of course, yung gen-to-gen comparison natin. No? You have like what I mentioned earlier, the higher AAR or higher active area ratio of the screen, basically your screen to body ratio for laptops, right? And you have a higher um, resolution OLED screen. With the battery from the Yoga Gen 5's 60 watt hours, we've upgraded it to 75 watt hours, which will net you an additional 3 to 4 hours of battery life. And then with the camera, of course, you also have a higher resolution camera. You have higher TDPs, and this is just based on simulation alone. Of course, there might be a little bit of a margin of error here, but most likely this is going to be the figure that you're looking at. It's 2.5 times the performance of the previous generation Intel Core i processors because alone of the generational improvements and of course our improvements on thermal and AI power management. So of course, lastly, you also have that better sound system that you can adapt or you can hear for yourself with the Yoga 9i Gen 7. All right, so medyo mahaba siya. I know, I hope you guys took your coffees already that we sent you. But just to summarize everything, we'll be bringing in one single model of this laptop, which is going to be in oatmeal color. So this is very new for us as well. It's not quite pink, it's not quite beige, but it's very stunning altogether. And we hope that you also will love this color the way that we do. And it will be powered by an Intel Core i7P processor, which I'll get to later. But before we get to the specs and the pricing, I just also want to discuss a little bit more about what the Yoga 9i's capabilities are in contrast with Windows 11 or together with Windows 11. Excited for you to share the news about the all-new Yoga 9i. We'll be bringing the Yoga with one single configuration. Of course, it's powered by an Intel Core i7 1260p processor with Iris Xe graphics and 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM. You also get 1 terabyte of PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD. So it's Gen 4 already versus the Gen 3 that we already have from the previous generations. And of course, as mentioned, users will also get the 14-inch 2.8K WQHD Plus display, OLED display rather, Bowers and Wilkins rotating soundbar, and 75 watt hours of battery. And of course, we're also including several extra accessories into the mix. So you have a Lenovo Precision Pen 2, actually a USB Type-C 3-in-1 hub, and of course, a Lenovo Yoga 14-inch sleeve with every purchase. Then as is usual with our Lenovo PCs now, we're including, of course, a lifetime license of Microsoft Office Home and Student 2021 and 3-year premium care warranty for on-site service. However, and na-reveal na siya dun sa slide, we're also throwing in with the Yoga 9i 3 years of accidental damage protection to go along with your device. Let's reveal this na. For the SRP, the Yoga 9i will retail at 109,995 pesos and will be available calendar year Q2 of 2022.